a fun weekend with Cine on 5.
Tonight on 5. Express personality with style. Rendition of grace with elegance. Together and complete. Truly a perfect match. With natural diamond grading certificate. Mason Jewelry.
This is News Tonight.
Good evening, I'm Angela Lim. In tonight's top stories, Changi Airport ramps up measures to protect passengers and workers from COVID-19 after Singapore's largest active cluster was detected there. More support for sports and arts groups in Singapore as they deal with tightened COVID-19 measures. Taiwan imposes stricter COVID-19 measures for 2 weeks as it grapples with its worst outbreak yet. And also tonight, cyclists say a rule being considered by authorities to ride single file on roads could pose a safety hazard. Changi Airport is ramping up measures to protect passengers and workers from COVID-19. It's now the largest active cluster in Singapore, with 59 cases, including 35 airport workers as of Friday. Now, the cluster has been traced to an area that received travellers from higher-risk regions, including South Asia. Passengers arriving from high-risk countries or regions will be separated from those from lower-risk areas. Their flights will be assigned to different piers, and passengers from high-risk places will be escorted through the airport, use a separate immigration hall, baggage belts and toilets. They will be tested at different health screening stations. Now, airport workers will also be split into groups. Different groups will have separate rest areas and they will not intermingle. Those working in higher risk areas will have their meals delivered to them. Workers are also being tested to detect more cases. Almost 10,000 airport workers have already been tested. The Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore says the vast majority are negative. About 8,000 office workers in the passenger terminal buildings will also be tested in the next few days. Now, airport workers in higher risk roles will also be tested more frequently, every 7 days compared to 14 currently. Vaccination is also being stepped up for aviation workers who haven't received their jabs. In other news, sports and arts groups in Singapore will receive more support amid tightened COVID-19 measures. These include subsidies for pre-event testing costs for permitted live performances for 4 weeks starting 16th May. For the sports sector, relief measures recently announced by Sports Singapore that were initially for up to 30th May will now be extended to 13th June. Culture, Community and Youth Minister Edwin Tong says this is a time to look after not just lives, but also livelihoods. Sports businesses will be given grants to defray their fixed costs, such as rental and salaries. Training and project grants, which sports operators can tap into, will be extended to 13th June. Cash assistance to self-employed persons, both in the sports and arts sectors, is also available. The Arts and Culture Resilience Package has been topped up over the past year to the current $75 million. It offers operating grants and venue hire subsidies to those who need them. As for the pre-event testing cost subsidies, the National Arts Council is still working out the application process. Most places of worship are aiming to allow only 50 people per service as tightened COVID-19 measures start tomorrow. Such venues are allowed up to 100 attendees, but with pre-event testing. Mosques are offering only 50 spaces per prayer session for now, as MUIS is still studying how it can implement pre-event testing. The Roman Catholic Archdiocese has imposed a similar rule until 13th June. It has also cancelled in-person masses tomorrow to allow more time to put in place the tightened measures. A church CNA spoke to says it'll rely on its hybrid model of streaming its services online. It says conducting pre-event testing will require more resources.
It's not something that we didn't know.